Righty, hello, hello. Welcome to week 3 matchup in the Lowell Midwest League. We have Froggy Style versus, and I am going to probably be butchering this a lot, but Bop It, Twist It, Gank It, BTG versus Frog. Love that tag. Or I guess FS, officially on the client. That's a good look as well. Let's see. I think we're slowly getting into draft here. Bit of a delay. And two streams going on. Not expecting too much love here, as I think we have a bit more of a marquee matchup on the mainstream Lowell Midwest with Scorch versus Five Big Booms, but we're here right now with BTG versus Frog, as both these teams are in. Let me, get a little more info for us here. Records and whatnot, as we are into draft already, so we'll pull that up real quick, as well as drag some OPGGs down. So both these teams in Group C. Bop It, Twist It, Gank It is currently 0-2. The only 0-2 team in Group C, so definitely looking for a good bounce back game there for themselves. And then we have Bop It or Froggy Style, and things are a little all over the place, at least on the official Battle 5, because Sad Boys dropped out. What a shout to Froggy Style replacing them. Believe they are 1-1. In terms of the power rankings that released for week 2, Froggy Style is pretty up there. They jumped up 4 spots this week. Big jump up for them. And that's enough to bring them into the top 10 of the league. So they're a team that's on that playoff vicinity right now, looking to stay there and make a push, whereas Bop It, Twist It, Gank It definitely want to have a good showing here. Apologize if anybody was waiting for the late start. There was a bit of an issue with players, a show of good sportsmanship. Froggy Style let BTG keep their ban, so kind of dissecting draft a little bit more here. We have on the blue side a first pick Aurora coming through. Very strong skirmishing and didn't get the chance to really bring up the power it has as a flex pick, but you do kind of see that on display as to round out that first round of drafts for the blue side and Froggy Style. Sejuani and Cassiopeia are coming through. And so that Cass and Aurora could probably switch around depending on where Fuse and Boricua King decide they want it, as Cass into that Ari is a pretty solid matchup. It's something we see, in the LTA quad pull out a lot. Bit niche, but Cassiopeia, very strong champion into that. Looking at the other side, red side, we have Ari Viego, super strong mid 2v2 skirmishing, should be able to rival that Sedge and whatever Froggy Style decides to put in the mid lane, and then Dr. Mundo in the top lane. So just a solid top side in round one for really both sides. Three sets of two sets of 3 characters that can skirmish their way around fights well, and you're really gonna put it up to a hands check, at least in the top side early. And then looking in the bot lane, this is where I guess those two teams are starting to sort of show a little bit of a different identity. Froggy Style going for that traditional engage bottom lane with an Alistar Kaisa looking to dive in, whereas the Jinx Melio on the other side of things is going to look to play the front to back a bit more. So I think that's our first little inkling of maybe how how each team is looking to play the game out. Let's bring up some background lo-fi. Not too weird, but I'm not just yapping the entire game. Spans are going to be mirrored. Kind of taking a look on paper, this is a game you'd expect Froggy Style to take this Sunday night. Rank isn't always the story, but you're really looking towards that bottom lane of Hook and Hero, the two only diamond players in this lobby to potentially take over. And Froggy Style has definitely drafted themselves a comp that will allow them to do so. You have the Alistar, you have the Kai'Sa, two very explosive champions that can hopefully take over from both lane and maybe even beyond. And then on the other side, rank-wise, BTG not too high up there. I think Honda Crasher's where your eyes are going to go. Pretty high up there. Currently Platinum's been on a bit of a surge, as well as DXV, their Emerald player in past years here. So probably where they are going to be looking to play. But you know, you never know how things go when the game shakes up. Pop it, twist it, gank it. With that Jinx and the Viego, you're hoping to get to those late game team fights, and one reset could do in Froggy Style, as that activates the Get Excited passive. That gives Viego a reset to play off some more Heartbreakers, even the Ahri, a little more Spirit Dashes, Spirit Charms. Gonna have to look that one up. Let's see what the Midwest channel is up to. They are in game already. Wow, nice. So in terms of bans, kind of taking a quick look here, because bans are the one thing that do tend to stay similar in Fearless. Froggy Style, first thing that jumps out to me, removing the Nasus. You know, when someone on the team is named One Trick Susan, that's a pretty simple ban to go through. And outside of that, the Nefiri, strong skirmishing champ, and then taking away 380 carries, so really trying to force One Trick Susan, the ADC, onto maybe something they're not as comfortable on. But that Jinx is still something that can hyper carry, so maybe a point of concern for Hero and Hook. As that Milio Jinx into the Kai'Sa Alistar bot lane, it'll be a pretty fun time for that double ranged matchup, at least early on, as you should have more agency. Alistar is one of the weakest level 1s in the game, so expect him to at least get some push level 1. That should let them dictate where they want the wave to go. And from there, it's important that they don't misstep and put themselves in a position to be comboed by Hook, because Hero will be right there for the follow-up on the Kai'Sa. Milio, if on low ping, in theory, could block the Alistar combo as he goes for the headbutt in. If that is cancelled by the flaming kick, that will bode quite well for the bottom lane of BTG, but you're going to have to be on quite low ping, and that is by no means a reliable disengage. Having played that matchup a few times myself on the California 60 ping, that's a tough one to pull off. So zooming out towards the top side of the map now, as Prio should be going the way of BTG early in the bot lane, and then maybe traded back with Hero and Hook having more kill pressure around level 3 or so. The top lane, it looks like they are sending the Aurora into the top lane, giving that to Fuse, and Borica King on the Cassiopeia into the Ahri. Pretty expected based off what BTG drafted, as that Aurora into the Mundo. Range versus melee is going to be a very favorable matchup for Fuse. Not that Mundo will be at necessarily threat of dying, but should be pushed in pretty handily from Fuse. And Borica King, well, lane state wise will be pretty even with the Ahri, but you pick that Cassiopeia to really scale up, and once you get kind of 2-3 items, that Roa comes in, that Seraphs comes in, that's when you become an absolute machine in these team fights. So King just looking to scale up, and I think that's going to be pretty important for Froggy style, as they want to get into this mid game ahead. Their comp really should allow them to do so, and Bananasaur, we'll see what they do with what should be a relatively favorable map state for them, how they move around the map, and what they can accomplish for the team of FS. Waiting for that 3-minute spectator delay, ensure some competitive integrity, and then we will get into this. Hopefully going to be a good one. Gonna have my eyes on that bottom lane of Froggy style. They are in a somewhat volatile matchup. If Hook can get in range for some combos, and from there Hero should be in a good spot to take over. Hook maybe getting around the map with Bananasaur. And on the other side for BTG, looks like a few little swaps around, but eyes are going to be on probably Honda Crasher to see what they can do, stay safe, as that is really, you're looking on the side of BTG. Eyes are going to be on the Viego and this Jinx to see what they can really accomplish in these team fights, as that's where most of the damage and most of the strength in the late game is going to come from for BTG. Looks like some standard 5 points across the board. Interesting ward placement into that tri-bush. Looks like Honda and A-Man are... Can I get an A-Man? Not sure if that's really a reference to just a life thing or more a religious thing, but here for it regardless. But it looks like they're a little scared of maybe a potential early invade. As I say that, I zoom out, and despite the 5-point, Froggy style jumping off to an early lead in the mid lane, kind of taking another peek at what happens as Duffy getting caught out, walking into the river here, and pings coming down from Froggy style. They're able to track him exactly. It goes for a few little taunts here or there. And a flash pulverize from Hook is enough to get those 4 stacks on the permafrost. And Duffy just wants that one back for sure. That's very avoidable mistake. You know, walking into the river in the first place and then having a little fun with some emoting. But not going to affect this early game too much. It does go over to Alistar. Hook opting for the boots. The Hex Flash right here. As despite that weak Alistar level 1, Hero and Hook. Herook. Hook row. Already getting this early shove in the bottom lane. You want to see Honda Crasher and this Melio play a bit more with their range here. As once Alistar ticks over to 2, now you're in a lot more trouble after getting comboed. Exhibit A here, as Hook does miss the pulverize. Really lays it into that ground. That happens sometimes. Just a bit out of range, couldn't quite get the headbutt. And so this Melio Jinx are going to be able to farm it up a little more safely for the time being. As Hook looking once again with the Hex Flash is going to go in, gets the knock up, and the Pulverize goes backwards. Glacial Prison Augment slowing him down, and Emilio going to fall down to just a little above 100 health. So great look out of that star bot lane from Hero Hook. Exactly what you want to see from Froggy style. As I mentioned, this fuse into the Mundo is pushing quite nicely. It's giving a lot of space for Bananasaur to just complete their full clear. Both junglers went from bot to top here, so could see an early skirmish break out in another 30 seconds or so after both junglers clear their buffs. Start to look to get on the map as another proc of the Electrocute from Fuse. Nothing short about that one. Does miss the cannon. Oof. -1 in chat. I can't do that to Fuse. He's stomping the lane anyway. So looks like a bit of a skirmish in the river. Prio top as Froggy style members begin to move over, and Duffy forced to back out. Doesn't have that smite, so not going to stick around there too long. And solo laners return back to their respective lanes. Hook looping around in the backside, approaching this bot lane of the Emilio Jinx. Knock up and headbutt onto Amen, who flashes out, and that is going to be enough with the heal to get him out. Duffy pathing down into the bottom lane this whole time is going to be able to catch up with the stun, as they do call it off, though, as cooldowns were coming back up for that Alistar, so Boppet not wanting to chase too far. Flash in the top lane for Bananasaur. 2 kills to 0 for the side, as another combo in the bottom lane from Hook. Void Seeker falls short onto a minion, but that 5 passive stack is still going to hit. As Borica King trading nicely in the mid lane too. No mana on this Ahri as the Poison Fangs stack up, and a flash in with one more to close it. 3-0 domination in this early game out of Froggy style. They're leaping out to an early lead, if you will. Flash is forced all across the map. Summoner's forced as well, as they have already a 15 CS lead in the top lane. Great trading in the bottom lane has forced Melio Summoners out. And a trade of flashes. We see that counter pick come in. Cassiopeia into Ahri. Pretty tough matchup to play on the Ahri side of things, as that Cass really just counters everything you want to do as an Ahri in terms of playing through the wave and then that immobility. Going in for a quick combo under tower, but nothing going to result out of it. As Honda Crasher farming up nicely, I will say. Like I said, that is kind of the hope. Honda and Duffy DXV. Really the skirmishing potential for BTG, as if they can get a reset in this late game, that's really what you have your eyes on. But Froggy style building themselves that early lead. May not even have the chance to get to that point for the Jinx and the Viego. Level 6 on Ozai means Hook and Bananasaur not going to try anything in the mid lane as they loop around the bot lane. Great support jungle movement. You see a neutral state in the bot lane minion-wise, so you don't lose anything as a support roaming around with your jungler here. You can look to get some deep wards, be around for some plays as they approach the mid lane. Ozai going to be able to walk out of that one, but forced back, missing some minions, and just some clean micro play coming out as CS leads in the top side in the solo lanes, looking great. Duffy going to try to get something back on the top side as Hook looks for a combo in the bottom lane, and Amen may be a bit caught out here as stun comes through. Hero dashing in, looking for a few more autos. Will befall that Melio. Another great trade in the meantime too from King, as 4-0 now, and already a 2K gold lead just 7 minutes in. Almost all off of just mechanics for the side of Froggy style. Orca King going to continue to push in Ozai. And Hook looking for a combo onto Honda Crasher. Flashes in to guarantee it with the headbutt pull. Honda flashes back towards his tower, pops the barrier. He is cutting this one out. Gets one reset onto the Sejuani, and now is it sighted. Chasing for more. Level 6 on the Kaisa, but level 6 takes over for the Jinx. Still chasing him down with that Melio Campfire. Lands the sap slow. And Borica King on the top side of the map. Meanwhile, stunning Dekfi, and is enough to bring Hero in for a follow-up. Scrublord Ozai, not enough mana to Spirit Rush away. And Froggy style, turning that one around beautifully. The dive goes south initially, giving over a reset to the Jinx. But after that, some heroics coming out from the Cassiopeia in the mid lane is enough to chunk down that Viego. Kai'Sa comes flying in with the Killer Instinct on the other side. And the two carries of Froggy style jumping up big. It's a solo kill on the top side too. Fuse just chunking down One Trick Susan this whole time, and the pop of that electrocute, I think that's why they call him Fuse. It's just like that, a little spark. Electrocute comes out, One Trick Susan, no time to pop the maximum dosage ulti to heal anything back up. As Hook, once again, out on the map, leaving Hero alone to farm into Honda and the Melio, making sure his team secures 3 grubs. Only 3 grubs available for the taking now with the Spirit Blossom season changes. That is one of those big changes. Just 1 set of grubs, those 3 grubs. If you can secure them, all 3, which it looks like Bananasaur will be able to do pretty handily, then that means you get to spawn those Void Mites, which will help Froggy style as they transition into the mid-late game and start to play a 1-3-1. Hook really playing the map here, just going to be moving around this whole time, playing with their jungler, and now looking for a play in the top lane as Viego popping over with the Blast Cone just to see that his red buff is gone. Susan trying to get this wave in, but in come Bananasaur and Hook. Fuse going to walk past the wave too. This will be a 3 versus 1. All Ghost pop from One Trick Susan, but is going to be knocked back. Permafrost stacked up for more CC. Maximum dosage pop to try to heal through, but with the Ignite pop down from Hook, that's going to be another kill over to Fuse. 3-0-0, 72 farm over One Trick Susan, who is traditionally the 80 carry for BTG, but just some roster problems having to last minute swap in. As Hero still farming up well in the bottom lane. Great coverage of wards by BTG in this bottom side river, but not really pushing the envelope here. That's something you'd maybe want to see them do more of. Just kind of play this cross map better once you see that Hook and Bananasaur are in the top side. Maybe get deeper wards, start tracking the Sejuani a bit better. If you're not really going to look to poke or punish down the Kai'Sa, which by no means an easy task. And see, easy from this perspective. Hook walking up, forces the trap. Hero Killer Instinct in aggressively after the Void Seeker as Viego is in this bot side and Ari's moving down too. Hero may have gone too far looking for a Superman play. TP coming in from the Aurora to match things. Duffy flashing in with the Heartbreaker. Gets the reset onto the Kai'Sa. But this is still a 4 versus 2. Fuse wants the fight too. Viego getting another reset. Now the resets are coming in. Hondasaur firing from the back line. 3 kills going over to BTG as Froggy style way overstepping their bounds there. Hero just with a very aggressive Killer Instinct forward. And with some great rotations down from the Viego Ari. That's enough to start to swing things back for the side of Bop It, Twist It, Gank It. Be able to push this wave in, getting some free time for the Mundo in the top lane as well as Aurora TP down and still opted into that 4 versus 2 as DXV getting some resets alongside Honda Crasher. It's good news for BTG, but as I say that, this Jinx overstayed a little bit getting that wave in, and that's going to give a kill back over to the Kai'Sa, as well as more Cole as they get the chance to crash this wave. So right as things look good for Bop It, Twist It, Gank It, looks like maybe a pull it or a flick it comes out, throws things south, messes up the pattern. This plate's going over. Those 3 grubs from earlier are enough for Hero to secure some more gold. And now Hook and Bananasaur looking for a little bit of cheese here. Let's see if Honda Crasher is kind of aware of what's going on here. Walking back to lane, all chill, and in comes the combo. It's the death ball. Oh man, you just hate to see it. Life of an ADC as Another death befalling the Jinx. And we're looking at around 3 total waves missed off of those 2 deaths. And Hero getting themselves right back into this game. That player to watch is going to be in a comfortable position to carry, opposed to their AD carry opponent. So continuing to get back on the map. Viego taking what they can from the top side. But you take a look at this game, and it's exactly how Froggy style wants it to go. Stacking up some early objectives, their carries all around, getting these kills, getting these golds. They're winning out on these skirmishes. And we did see a glimpse of what BTG's team has to offer with that skirmishing potential of Ari, Viego, Jinx getting some resets. But Ozai is still struggling into Borica King. Had to Spirit Rush out. Now Spirit Rushing in as the Viego is in the area. We'll see if they're able to gap close this, as Borica King has the Petrifying Gaze at the ready, so DXV probably doesn't want to commit too hard. Now Borica King dropping the mid wave, as this is just some clean League of Legends. They are tracking this Viego perfectly. Knew exactly where he's going to be. Sejuani ult over the top. I mean, clinical League of Legends. That Cassiopeia, exactly where Viego was pathing on the buff respawn timer. Hero with a 1v2 kill in the bottom lane. Hook flashing to help secure his ADC another kill. 13-4 now, just 14 minutes in. Man, it is domination for the Frogs in this game 1. We'll take a look back at that Kai'Sa 1v2. Pay some respect. As, you know, looks like they play a little bit respectfully. No, Emilio just walking up a bit too far, trying to hold the wave. All little bolts of that Acathian Rain tagging Emilio, and when you're isolated like that, it is quite a bit of damage, especially on a 5-1 Kai'Sa, so He'll going over to Kai'Sa. Well played to them. We'll try to catch things back up. Timeline may have spoiled a little more action. As, once again, just tracking this Viego beautifully. Stunning him in the jungle. And despite the Heartbreaker out, it's not going to be enough as Hero walks up with Banana Soar and the Permafrost to secure that. Forcing the Jinx to flash over, and Hero chasing for more. Hook over the wall as well. Oh my goodness, BTG can't walk up at all. As Froggy style, they are living in the jungle. These are some tree frogs. The way they are just all over the place in this rainforest. I mean, really, it's points like that when you don't have eyes on this Alistar Sejuani. They're living in the jungle. They know where you're going to be. You're portaling in. You think you're safe, and the frogs just pounce, extending their gold lead to now 6K just 15 minutes in. And this is a good performance. It's kind of what you want to see out of a powerhouse team, or the team really trying to prove themselves as powerhouses against more of a, at least on paper, weaker team. As Hero, 2.5 items on that Kai'Sa, forcing the Emilio to flash out. Fuse holding well on the top side. As I will say, this Mundo is stabilizing things quite well. Is going to be a tanky front line come late game for the Jinx and the Viego if they can get stuff to happen. But Emilio just walking up, getting comboed by Hook. Not quite showing enough respect over to that now 10 KP bottom lane. As Banana Soar looking for a play in the top lane with that Mundo passive. See how much they're actually able to accomplish. As, yeah, Permafrost just knocks that out. And Banana Soar and Fuse looking for the tower before going after the champion here. Glacial Prison comes through. One Trick Susan forced a Ghost and Maximum Dosage out. As Honda Crasher coming in for follow-up. Viego finishing the Herald this entire time is going to be able to collapse afterwards too. Maybe an angle for the Viego to start to get things back, but in comes the Snake, slithering on forward. Honda Crasher with the ulti forward, not going to be enough to kill Bananasaur. And that will be the end of that little skirmish. Even with all that and, you know, kind of BTG collapsing onto Froggy Style, Froggy Style comfortably get a tower and get out without really blowing too much, just a few ultis. And now you look in the mid lane as Honda Crasher was kind of drawn over the map. Hero gets to hit the mid lane for free. TP in the bottom lane. Viego gonna be caught out yet again. Flashes right into the Alistar, unfortunately. And that will be the 8th kill for the Kai'Sa, who going unstoppable. Now 4-man siege on the bottom lane is going to be enough to knock down this tier 2 tower with the grubs. Emilio kind of looking for a flank position, but with this 3rd Drake up, would be soul point for Froggy Style. They're going to go ahead and grab that. Combo from Hook onto the Melio is going to be enough for another kill on the side of the Cassiopeia. And once again, still being able to track this Viego, who's just had a really rough time. One of those characters that needed to get ahead for BTG, and doing what they can, you know, farming up quite nicely, playing the other side of the map well. Sejuani goes to one side, Viego goes to another, but this time going to be punished for it. It's Hero with the solo kill coming in. Void Seeker into Killer Instinct, going to be enough to knock down a free kill there. This Hook zone in the bottom lane, and now about a 10k, almost 10k gold lead, 9k right now for the Frogs. Be all but a formality if they end this one cleanly, as your only hope for BTG is, you know, maybe you are able to catch someone off like the Kai'Sa, maybe goes in too aggressively, or Ozai lands a sneaky charm in. You can start getting those resets from the Jinx, from the Viego. Until that happens, it's currently the Frogs' game to lose, as they are collapsing into the jungle here, forcing Baba Twist to gank it out as the Otacon spawns in. All 5 members of the Frogs turning their eyes there. Hook playing a little bit of zoning, and BTG doing what they can to, you know, answer back. They do have the objective bounty available in the mid lane. Looking for that mid tower. Are going to be able to secure it with that 3-man squad, but that is going to be enough to see the Otacon. See there, they are pushing for more as it's just Borica King defending. Scrub Lord Ozai is going to fall short on the charms. Petrifying Gaze lands a stun. Borica King playing this 1 versus 3 right now, and looking okay doing so, as Hero flashing forward for a kill onto the Mundo. Emilio caught out as well. That's going to be another 2 kills. It's 22 kills, over a kill a minute for Froggy Style. Is this the style of the Frogs? Just clean domination, picking fights, clean map play, and winning them, as Hero now onto this bot lane inhib tower. Viego in the area means Kai'Sa's not going to be able to get it too comfortably with that Acathian rain damage. 2 items on that Kai'Sa, i.e. and a few components. Level 14. I mean, that is 4 levels higher than the Jinx. It is very tough to withstand that damage, as Emilio almost falls from just a Cathian Rain and a few autos. Hero kiting it back now. As it looks like Froggy style. Going to play a little bit of respect. Don't want to get too overzealous. Trying to play around waves here, making sure they secure the inhibs cleanly. So that will be the bot inhib falling and mid inhib sure to follow shortly after. But Froggy style do decide to back up. As BTG just going to be stuck in their base now. I mean, it is this is one of those games you're casting. It is a 9k gold lead on one side, 22 to 4 kills. It really is all but a formality. You never know what can happen in League, but from what I've seen so far from Froggy style, they seem like they're paying their respect over, navigating these games cleanly, and should be able to end this one in that same dominating fashion that they've had from minute 0 to 22 here. Orca King walking up onto Ozai, gets the Rylai slow. The ground forces the Spirit Rush out from the Ahri. It looks like the call for FS is going to be to move on through this bottom lane here. That open lane. Taking away some jungle camps. This hero dashing on forward, no fear, 1 versus 4. Banana Sword there to follow up, and in comes the cavalry as Melio forced to flash out. Mundo the tank falling instantly. Absolutely shredded by these carries of Froggy style. Hero stepping forward for more. Killer Instinct forward gets 1 kill on Emilio. And Viego Jinx on the backside is not going to be enough with that level difference, that wallet difference, to kill that Cassiopeia. So 26 to 4 kills in. 24 minutes in. A dominating Game 1 win for FS. As picking up a few more kills. The Frogs leaping out to an early start in this Sunday night series. Taking a look at the damage, kind of exactly where you'd expect it. 30k in just a 23-minute game from this Kai'Sa. Well played. It's really everyone on Froggy style. Pushing their leads well. Moving around the map cleanly. And once those few little skirmishes did come around, quite frankly, just out-handsing the squad of BTG. And on BTG's side, just going to be back to the drawing board. You're probably going to look to experiment with something new there when you do get, quite frankly, pummeled like that. Maybe looking for something just with a bit more agency in those lanes, as it really felt like they were losing every lane. So that's an area to start. Maybe give the Viego a little more to play through. Maybe a bit more gank heavy. I mean, it's tough to say. As we did see a glimpse of some of that skirmishing teamfight potential in the bottom lane early on, able to punish an overstep. Really, really the one overstep of the game from Froggy style in the bottom lane. But outside of that, just a clean execution all around. Has a little more talk. Probably going to have a bit of a game break here. I'm going to go grab some water, use the restroom, and I should be back within maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so. Back. Reading these messages. I hope they didn't wait for me. Yeah. Okay, they did. Okay, cool. And you get the Nexus draft breakdown analysis, I guess, and let the people see exactly what they're here to see. Some fearless Game 2 draft mix-ups, as we'll see how the bands change. Interestingly enough, looks like both teams, Bop It, Twisted, Gank It, opting to stay on the same side of things here. Running back that red side, so maybe pretty comfortable with those R5s. Didn't necessarily pay off in that game one, but maybe this time around going to use that to fully capitalize on some more winning solo lanes. As fans are having some problems. You hate to see it. Looks like things just kind of froze up. No, that sometimes happens with the website here. Always the issue with these third-party drafting websites. Just gets a little tough to navigate sometimes. So we'll see. Alright, nice. We are back. Things are good. So similar bands coming out. Nefiri, Zeri, Nasus on the side of Froggy style, getting rid of One Trick Susan's One Trick, allegedly. Nefiri, just a strong skirmishing champion. And Zeri, a powerful late game marksman 80 carry. Just kind of all over the place, knocking down a few things. And on the flip side, we have Aatrox, Kled, so two top lane bands, kind of strong fighting top laners. Maybe One Trick Susan is not as comfortable playing into. Kind of tells me they're opting towards a tank. And then the Rakan band trying to take away some of that power that Hero Hook had in the last game. So yeah, I'm going to be right. It's going to be Cassante, but I do want to point out Froggy style locking in the Teemo. And that's, I guess, why they waited for draft, because that's a fun one. Fearless, game 2, bringing it out. You know, a dominant win from Froggy style means you can maybe get in the kitchen and start to cook things up a little bit. And Cassante going to be the, assuming this Teemo goes top, Cassante going to be the answer to it. Not going to be a fun time for the Cassante. It would play similar to that last game that we saw with Fuse on that range topped into the tank. If Teemo can continue to space like Fuse was doing on the Aurora game, then expect that to be heavily favored towards Froggy style, as BTG taking their two solo laners early again with the Syndra coming through. Strong control mage. Good scaling. Hopefully something that Ozai is able to navigate a little more into what was a pretty strong showing from Borica King in game 1 as the Echo comes through for Froggy style. Big fan of that. That's a great counter pick into the Syndra. That Chrono Break lets you ulti out of the Syndra ulti, and outside of that you are able to kind of farm things up okay, and with your mobility on that E dash are able to gap close pretty well. So I mean, ultimately we'll see where it goes, as Darius is going to be locked in the Cassante. Strong matchup for Fuse here. I mean, anytime you have a Darius into a tank, it's going to be pretty comfortable, as you can get those stacks applied a lot more comfortably than any other champions. And from there, start to take over with maybe some dunk resets. Rounding things out, it looks like both teams, once again, drafting their top sides early. It's tough to say where this Teemo's going. Could be Teemo support even, if Hook feels like cooking it up. But Xin Zhao locked in for BTG. I like that pick for DXV. Just a comfortable skirmishing champ, a little more power in the early game than something like the Viego, so hopefully able to make some more happen. And scales well in the late game with that Crescent Guard. If you're able to get ahead, do have that potential to kind of take over games. Second round of bans, going to be the same thing for Froggy style, targeting Honda Crasher, that the highest ranked player on BTG, trying to put them on something that doesn't have as hard carry potential, like the Ezreal in this area. Those are out. And BTG getting rid of the Pantheon and Tristana, so just two strong sort of laners that could be locked in. Has strong laners going to be locked in anyway, as Pike coming through on 4 for Hook, looking to live up to the namesake here. And Zaya going to round out that bottom lane here. Traded back with a Sivir from Honda Crasher. I like that pick. You need something that's going to be a little safe into the Pike. If you're able to spell shield that Bone Skewer, then laning into the Pike and Zaya should be manageable. I say that, but here on Hook, we're able to find some great angles last game on what should have been, at least on paper, a tougher lane for them. So we'll see if Honda Crasher and Can I Get an Amen are able to really turn things around in another ardent hyper carry lane into heavily volatile kill lane on the side of Froggy style. Darius top. Let's see where this Teemo ends up going. I suppose it could be either or. Can't say I'm too familiar on Teemo jungle clear. It will be Teemo jungle. It's the 1P. Not sure if it was a flex or if Bananasaur was just calling for it. Putting some spice into our lives on this Sunday night here in the Midwest League. Maybe giving Group C a little something fun to worry about in future weeks if this thing is navigated successfully. As I think I'm most excited this game for how this mid jungle ends up playing out, as there are two bit more untraditional in the meta picks from Froggy style. Echo into Syndra is kind of an old school counter pick where we've really been seeing Echo in the jungle more. Still has strong laning, pretty good base damages, and with electrocute buffs, you know, recently a few patches ago, great all-in potential. So we'll see if King is able to punish this Syndra, and how Syndra is able to kind of navigate that with the Scatter the Weak, maybe saving that peel tool for themselves to keep them alive. And then this Teemo, of course, the elephant, the Yordle-sized elephant in the room. How is this Teemo going to go? You know, I think clearing, you're going to be all right. You'd expect it to be a little behind the Xin Zhao just because it's not this meta pick. But once that level 6 ticks over and you get access to the shrooms, Froggy style showed some great map play early on in game 1. So maybe this Teemo with those shrooms will be able to kind of help assist them in gaining map control for their objective setups, which were clean in game 1. So we'll really see how things go. Yeah, Spence, man, that don't sound biased at all. I'll be echoing that sentiment though if Bananasaur was able to pilot this well. I think Teemo Jungle is about as spicy as it gets. So we'll see how the clear goes. I don't know how much gank-wise it's going to be able to pull off. You know, maybe something in the bottom lane if Hook can pull something off with the Bone Skewers, or if they team up, move around the map. But we'll see what Banana can do. Definitely gonna have my eyes there. Once again, I'm a bit nervous for BTG this game too, as it's similar to game 1. I mean, barring the Teemo, where I'm looking at these lanes and Froggy style really just have winning lanes everywhere. This Darius into the Cassante is going to be comfortable. This Echo into the Syndra has a lot of kill potential. Maybe not super early on, but once mid game starts to roll around on side lanes, that Syndra is going to have a rough time. And then in the bottom lane, this very volatile kill lane that Hero and Hook have drafted for themselves. This time with the Lulu and the Sivir, hopefully a bit more tools to kind of keep safe. But I think BTG is definitely going to have to watch themselves in the early game, as if they fall behind again into a comp like this, it will be extremely tough to come back, as zone control between two hooked characters and Pike Darius, that long range stun with Echo and Teemo Shrooms, will be very tough to navigate, all while Hero on this Zaya is probably able to free hit, just due to space being able to be bought by the rest of his team. But for BTG, if they do survive that kind of initial onslaught of those powerful lanes, then, you know, EXV maybe getting stuff done on the Xin Zhao, starting to get things snowballed. You are playing similar to last game, where if you can get this jungler and this hyper carry AD ahead, they are going to be in a great position to carry. You have a lot of space building tools for your Sivir in this traditional front to back with tank top, skirmish jungle, Ardent support, and control mage mid. All with Sivir, who's one of the safest hyper carries in the game with that spell shield and that ulti, able to really kite through fights well. So, and we were able to see a good display of mechanics from the side of Honda Crasher. So that's where my eyes will be once again for BTG, is what can this Xin Zhao get done early, and after that, how is this Sivir able to scale up, as Sivir really does need like 3 or 4 items before that damage really starts coming out. So it's a bit of a long time to scale up. If they can get there, then BTG should have a bit of a closer game than they had in game 1. As we are getting into game. Alrighty, let's see what breaks out in game 2 here, as it looks like more level 1 shenanigans on the side of Froggy style, as they are looking to invade in the top lane. Going as 5. This is a great invade path, as you don't have that fog of war vision if you sit in this tri-bush and they loop around here. As I say that though, looks like Cassante was able to spot it out. Something probably got screwed up there. As, yeah, hugging the bottom side of that tri-bush. No, actually, just sniffing it out. Okay. Good for One Trick Susan. We do have that 3-minute spectator delay, so not at all on the ends of some stream sniping. Hook gonna be just short with that hook. As things kind of go back to normal here, so pull back Fog of War again. See, kind of in the mid lane, what's gonna get done there? Hook and Hero approaching the bottom lane aggressively. What Xayah skin is this? Do I get to see? I guess not. Keep scoreboard up. Hook already establishing early priority. You know, I do think you're able to at least contest early on if you're this Lulu Sivir, but Amen and Crasher just playing very respectfully. His hook is just sitting in this bush. Love what they're doing here. Not necessarily throwing the hook, saving it until they walk up and it's a more of a guaranteed thing. So now Xayah already ticking over to level 2 and Flash forced out from that squishy support. Things are looking up for Froggy style already. And first blood in the mid lane. I am not on directed camera, but fight breaking out in the bot lane as Hook ticks over to level 2, dashes in to get the stun, and with Hail Blades all the hero has to do is walk up. So once again, domination starting early as this counter pick Echo coming in. That's a load of damage. Really just knowing the limits on the boy who shattered time there is king, as Ozai is once again felled to some teenage kid. Don't really know how many Avatar references I can make, but Hook gonna miss, but Honda Crasher still walking up. Gonna tank some autos out from the pike, and that will be enough. Another kill falling over for the Xayah. As a 3-minute feat of warfare claimed for the side of Froggy style. Really leaping out. No tadpole stage at all for them. Just going straight into frog mode. This frog style. And Teemo actually clearing well, getting the scuttle over this Xin Zhao. And now, once the smoke has the double buffs, is going to blind the Xin Zhao, killing the top lane for Darius in the meanwhile. Got to respect the one here, Fuse. Bananasaur is running this Viego down. Flash out from Duffy, and with the spear slow is going to be enough. But that Teemo jungle, to borrow Spence Man's words, this jungler's a bit goated. Skirmishing in favor of the Xin Zhao. Another kill falling in the bot lane. Oh, man. It's going to be another brutal watch if you're a BTG fan, as we are already up to a 2.5k gold lead. Just 4 minutes in. CS up everywhere. Kill lead pretty much everywhere. And expect Froggy style to just continue to snowball. One Trick Susan looking for a bit of a spicy play into the back of the tower, but on the bot side of the map, Lulu walking in where they really don't have business walking, as this now a 4-man squad on the side of the bottom lane for Froggy style. Clean macro, just playing through these strong lanes beautifully. Getting prio, roaming around the map, and securing easy kills just by virtue of straight numbers. As Honda Crasher trying to clear out this wave, but it's not going to be enough in this 4 versus 1. As I say that, though, Hook does get the kill, and BTG got one back. Shut down on the King for Honda Crasher Sivir. It's Teemo Jungle, 1-0-2. Focus on that. Try to make this a little fun. Kind of eyes on Bananasaur. Banana Sewer. Oh my gosh, eyes playing tricks on me. Brain playing tricks on me. It's classic. Just kind of fill that in. Dominant lead in the top lane over the Cassante. I mean, this Xin Zhao is really the only one who, and the Syndra, I suppose, are really the only one who can hold their own right now against their counterparts. But they're counterpicked, are their counterparts. So it's not necessarily an easy task, as Borikkin going in with parallel convergence does get the stun to tag the Syndra, and Scrublord Ozai, Scatter the Weak, going to be short. Bottom lane, continued domination out from Hero and Hook. So we'll head back to directed camera. Teemo continuing to farm up well. 48 farm, more than his top laner and mid laner. Stun's not going to really result in anything. Bananasaur just kind of peeking in the mid lane. Parallel convergence under tower means Orqua not going to go for too much there. These waves just continue to be pushed in. And once again, Froggy style, just textbook League of Legends. Using their prio, because they do have it everywhere by nature of those counter picks and better laning. And just moving in, starting to build a lead for the go-to jungler Bananasaur. Borikkin dashing in onto Scrublord Ozai. Another solo kill for the Echo. Hail of Blades popping those quick autos out. Doesn't even need the chrono break. Just able to dash in and get the kill. As Hero stepping up 1 versus 2. Ulties the polymorph into a double root. Hook flashing in just for good measure. Really trimming the grass there. And all love to Hook. I'm just having a little fun there. Insane display of mechanics there from Hero. As ultied the polymorph from the Lulu to ensure they have the uptime to hit. Gets the double root after that, and it's easy pickings from there. As we are now 11-1 kills. 4.5k gold lead. That is going to continue to be extended as these plates start to fall down, as CS leads begin to build up even more. And it's at this point in the game, if you're Boba Twisted Gank it, you got to be doing that. You just throw it all at the wall. Bop it, twist it, gank it. You run around the map, try to pick off someone. Overload, way too strong. You know, just send 4 into the top lane. See if you can get something back. 'Cause the way this game is going, you can't keep things as they are. As parallel convergence gives another stun, even through the Scatter of the Weak. Hook with an easy follow-up there. And that Hail of Blades combo from the mid support of Froggy style. Picking up another kill for the King. Now 4-1 on this spicy assassin counterpick Echo. You know, this is one of those games where it'll be interesting to see power ranking wise Froggy style against a weaker squad, but with how dominant it is, you wonder if they're going to pop more over the rankings. Fuse pulling him over the wall into the Bananasaur. He's placing the shrooms down. And Bananasaur picking up kill number 2. This Teemo jungle is not going to be enough to save Fuse, but with Borikkin there, once again having the prio, it's going to be 3 grubs over for the side of the Frogs. And now 6k gold lead 9 minutes in. Man, it is domination for all the Frogs as Root comes in. Well played on the Xayah combo. Hook with an easy follow-up on the execution. And Borikkin, even without the stun landing, able to get a very favorable trade. That's kind of the counter picker I was talking about just in draft, is ultiing the ulti. First display of that, the king not needing that really at all early on. Is One Trick Susan once again going for a little bit of a pullback in the tower onto the Darius, but Darius with that phase rush, able to just kite that out. Kills fallen yet again for Hero in the bottom lane, using that, what is it called? Feather Storm into Blade Caller to set themselves up well. More kills, and now 2 versus 1. Honda Crash are going to be in trouble. Does have both summoners. We'll see how they play it out. Spell Shield getting popped early is shattered by Hero, but not going to quite be enough to kill. Bananasaur in the area, though. This Teemo jungle. Hut 2, 3, 4! Auto! Blind! And he hut 2, 3, 4 and back to the Grump. It got me a little excited on that Teemo jungle there. But that is why we don't see that champion in the jungle, is that's about as good as it gets gank-wise. You're just kind of walking up and, you know, being as menacing as you can as little Yordle. Another kill for Borqua in the mid lane. Why not? We'll take a look back, see if there's anything to gas up here, as one level up, one whole item up, gets the parallel convergence, lines up all the rest of the abilities, and with the Storm Surge, Hail of Blades, Burst, there's an easy kill on the Scrub Lord Ozai, who is caught with his pants down. He's not wearing any pants. Don't know if anybody going to get that reference. I'm sure Fire Lord Ozai does. Scrub Lord Ozai does, excuse me. It's looking more like Melon Lord right now, but mostly due to Froggy Styles' gorgeous gameplay. As Dunk comes through onto the Xin Zhao, we'll see if the bleed's enough. Borica King in the area. One Trick Susan able to trade it back with that all out, and now Bananasaur coming in with a blind for good measure. But mostly to let Borica King pick up that 6th kill. Is now 20-3. 10k gold lead 12 minutes in. I'm not sure if say this as generously as I can. I'm not sure if forfeits are really allowed, but this is one of those games. You know, props to Bop It, Twist It, Gank It to really play them out. We've all been on these sides of league games where things just go south early, and you know, whether it's tilts, which can be in 2 tough losses in a row in a series, or you know, just not showing up on the day. You just want to get out. So they're still playing it out. You know, One Trick Susan able to pick up a few trade kills onto the Darius, but now Froggy style rotating things around the map here. I think Hero get even more plate gold. I mean, just taking a snapshot of the gold here. 1,000 gold lead in the top in the jungle. Almost 3,000 gold lead in mid lane. 3,000 in bot lane and 1.5 in support, continuing to get extended as another kill falls down. Xin Zhao forced out of his own jungle in a 3 versus 2 as Borica King polymorphed into the stun, maybe overstepping, forced to flash out, but Syndra just not enough damage at this point of time. And now Fuse taking the 1 versus 3, maybe a bit overzealous here as Syndra and Sivir able to pick up a kill back. So ends up being a 1-for-1, but that is a 4 versus 2 on the bot side. It is what you need if you're Bop It, Twist It, Gank It. You're okay with 1-for-1s, as any gold in the pocket is going to be better than nothing, especially landing on one of your carries there. Darius looks to be the one to maybe pick off, get a little more gold in the wallet. It is most certainly an uphill battle, as 14-minute objective bounties on the dot. Only natural as it's a 12k gold lead just 14 minutes in here. See Froggy style really just continue to exert their dominance around the map. They're able to walk up very easily here. As I mentioned, drafted a comp with strong laning and then converting that into strong objective control and map control with these Teemo Shrooms, the Pike Hooks, pretty much CC everywhere with a good kind of line to boot. And Exhibit A, they really just can't walk up here. One Trick Susan looking on to Hero, who is playing it a little bit. Forced to flash out. Maybe stepping up a bit too far. And now Viego, or sorry, gets stunned. Does Hero, but is just barely able to walk out. Scrublord Ozai flashing in for the ulti to get it back. But with a TP in from Fuse and Bananasaur on the Teemo jungle in the area. Froggy Style able to get that one back easily. Got to go for something if you're BTG. Unfortunately for them, just with the current game state, it's really tough for that to turn favorable for them. But well played with the catch out onto an overstepping Hero. Zaya's not an easy champion to catch out, and started off by One Trick Susan, ghosting in, and the top side being able to follow up with some CC from Ozai, able to kill Zaya even through the flash and ulti, but 4-man stun is not going to be enough to save off the onslaught that is Froggy Style jumping in here, as Bananasaur falling a bit low, and no AD carry in the area, but Froggy Style comfortable taking this 4 versus 4, knocking down this inhib just 16 minutes in. Are going to call it off. I think smart call. You know, it may not necessarily matter when you're this far ahead, but taking early inhibs usually gives other teams free route to farm. So this way, you can really just continue to extend this gold lead. I mean, it's going to be close to 17, 18k gold by the time this game ends, which shouldn't be too much longer if Froggy Style are able to close it out cleanly. There's a Root coming down in the bottom lane. Scrublord Ozai trying to chase Hook out for a kill, but not going to quite be able to close the gap. And Borka King on the other side is going to be able to just burst through. Ulti comes in. Hero playing this 1 versus 2 in the bot lane. And hut 2, 3, 4. In comes Bananasaur. Getting some minions for good measure. The blind coming through. A kill onto the Sivir. And a 6 kill for this Teemo jungle, as they're just flanking the towers here. Not much to say. I mean, dominant from Froggy Style. Clean game. Getting to cement themselves a little bit more, maybe in Group C. Important win for them as they start to look towards playoffs. Things should be able to get closed out relatively easily for them. Second Drake going over. No shot of contesting if you're BTG. I mean, really, if you're BTG here, you hope for a misstep from Froggy Style, and maybe your towers can kind of help close some of that gold lead, but looks like Froggy Style are going to just group up and try to play it cleanly, as they should. So maybe not giving a window over BTG. Honda Crasher is going to be caught in the parallel convergence, forced to flash out. And Hook really just gets to walk up and start fishing. Bone Skewer after Bone Skewer, not too much even the Cassante can do, as we see, just not too tanky if he gets caught out. 2 inhibs over 18.5 minutes in. And it looks like Froggy Style are just going to start walking things in. Going to be a last-ditch effort for the side of BTG. Some good stuns, good abilities coming through, but unfortunately the wallets are just too big on the side of Froggy Style. Honda Crasher able to get one back onto Hook. Borka King taking up some tower shots too. Like I said, making things maybe a little bit close. 2-man stun on the backside from Scrublord Ozai, but Bananasaur in this front line able to hit comfortably. So will be enough to hold things for now. Death timers, you know, not too long, just 19 minutes into the game here. So with that, and the Sivir respawning, you know, you do have some good wave clear at least. Just going to need a few more miracles, and a lot more than a few, actually, if you're BTG. So we'll kind of see what Froggy Style do as they look to close this out. Ping's coming down towards the Herald. I think that's a great call. You know, makes it a lot easier to really force your way into. Can be a tough base to siege with a Syndra Sivir. Sort of 2 Rift Heralds. be able to secure that one nicely. BTG just going to be stuck in their base. They really aren't in a spot to be able to walk up at all. And expect the rest of Froggy style to kind of join in and make this push together. Hero just getting a few extra CS before joining, so it will be a 4 versus 5 for the time being. Hook onto the Syndra, forces the flash out from Scrub Lord Ozai, and Teemo jumping into the Herald, getting one charge onto the tower. Parallel convergence dropping down is going to be enough to force BTG back. Flash ulti in from Fuse, and Hook is going to be enough to close this one out. As I say that, Fuse does drop to the unleashed power, and now Xayah finally joining the fight. Will be enough. Honda Crasher can do nothing but sit and watch as in what is one of the most dominant games of League I've ever personally seen. 38-7, 21 minutes in. Froggy style take this Week 3 series 2-0 over Bob Twisted Gank. Kind of take a look at the stats. Not really too much to dissect there. Kind of mentioning it all throughout within the game. Froggy style, drafting these strong lanes and playing to it beautifully. I mean, you're getting solo kills, you're getting priority, and then shifting that into playing around Bananasaur. Love the map movement, both games 1 and 2 out of Hook and Bananasaur. Getting some early vision, really making the XV's life incredibly tough as a jungler. And then that converting into just really easy wins for the rest of the team there. If you're Boppa Twisted Gank it, you can chalk that one up. Just a bad day, look at that one another day. I think one thing you can point out is they do have some solid looking drafts, playing towards their strengths with Honda Crasher and the XV playing these traditional front to backs. If they're able to, weather off the storm in these early games against stronger laners a bit more, then we saw some potential come through in team fights when they were holding that base in game 2 at that bottom tower in game 1. They know how to punish oversteps and play that front to back cleanly. Just unfortunately today, not quite able to get to that point. So that will be it for me. A fun game 2 with the Teemo jungle coming out in draft. Hope it was somewhat enjoyable to watch for everyone who tuned in. I believe, let's see if the Midwest Esports channel is still alive. Still live, very much alive. Um, but yeah, so we got a bit of a banger actually over on the Lowell Midwest channel. I got to figure out how to host. As do appreciate all of y'all tuning in. No, it was a bit of a one-sided game, but hope it was at least somewhat enjoyable to watch. Just let me Google how to host channel name. Simple enough, isn't it? Well, I don't know if that worked. Too big. I'll link it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Once again, bit of a more rookie caster here, so always looking for feedback. If you have it, feel free to share it. Other than that, I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday nights. Bye bye.